Hey, Life Group leaders, I want to tell you about something interesting. In light of the training that's coming up this Sunday at 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock in room 205, by the way, Senior Center is where we were going to be, but there's some exciting construction going on in there. And so we will actually be in room 205 at 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock this Sunday. So take your pick, whichever of those trainings. If you haven't signed up, please do, but either way, get there. The reason why I wanted to tell a story related to actually training, because I've noticed something. Life group leaders, that is, are inherently relational people, that is. And I've noticed that relational people don't like things like keeping attendance and coming to trainings and things like that. We don't like those kinds of structural things because we're relational. We just want to hang out with people. We just want to drink coffee and have discussions and talk about Jesus. Awesome. The same thing that makes you great at being a life group leader, unfortunately, makes us all bad at structure. But I want you to know something. It doesn't have to be that way. I heard an interesting illustration from Nicky Gumbel in our Alpha course, and he was talking about a time he doesn't really know the game of soccer very well, and he talked about a situation where there was this pickup game going on, and the scorekeeper referee guy couldn't make it in time, and so they hand this guy a whistle, and so Nicky has to go around trying to make a game happen. Well, he doesn't know the rules. He doesn't know where the boundaries are. There were no markings out there. He doesn't know really how the game is supposed to be run, and so he doesn't even really know teams. And so kids are just running around, and they're kind of a very young, kind of toddler age. Kids are getting hurt, and so he doesn't really know what to do. Somebody will say, hey, the ball went out of bounds, and he says, really, I don't know, so just play on. One kid runs into another. Somebody says, hey, you need to call a foul, you need to give him a yellow card or whatever, and he says, I don't really know how to do that, so just play on. And by the end of just a few minutes, there's children laying on the ground, people are bleeding, it's just a big mess. And then the referee shows up. And when the referee gets there, he marks the boundaries for the playing field. He assembles the children into teams. He blows the whistle. They play. When something goes wrong, he stops, and what he does is he engages the rules. He engages the order and the structure. And Nicky asked this question. He says, were the children more free when there were no rules or when there were some structure there for them? And they're like, well, obviously they had more fun playing in the structure. And so the reason why I'm telling this story is because, if I'm being honest, I am not a guy who just loves structure. I love to focus on relationships. I love to focus on people. I like to spend my time in ministry meetings, and I like to spend my time drinking coffee and discipling people. And those are the things I love to do. I don't like to fill out reports, but I know I have to do it. And here's something I've noticed. We often, those of you who are great life group leaders who are highly relational, it's very easy to think that our reports and our trainings are not that important because you're spending all your time doing great ministry. And I understand, because I have a tendency to think that very way. But I want you to know something really important. That structure is part of what makes it possible to maximize our ministry. And so as we continue to move forward with using Open Door to connect, to check attendance and to give reports, it's a 30-second thing for you that really wonderfully helps us keep track of who's being ministered to where. And when something goes wrong and somebody's missed a group 3 or 4 times in a row, it allows you, as you're doing that, to think, wow, I need to check on that person. And it also allows us to just know what's happening. This is not some way that we're just keeping tabs and, if something goes wrong, we're upset or anything like that. It's just a way that we can have some structure to make sure that we're ministering in the best way possible. So I want you to keep that in mind. And the same thing with our trainings. Training is a wonderful, wonderful way to sharpen the wheel and for us to all come together and find out what the needs each of us has and how we can support each other and encourage. And as you know, at the trainings, one of the things we do is we have breakout sessions. We ask you to help sharpen these other new and up-and-coming leaders and even each other to get ideas. It's so important. And I know, as relational people, we just want to focus on the actual doing of ministry. But I want to really encourage you, I want to admonish you. The structure helps us minister well. So please be there this Sunday, and as we continue to increase our use of Open Door Connect, please be faithful to do that, because God is doing great things, and we want to make sure that we are excellent stewards of the people that He has given us. The trustworthy stewardship goes far beyond money. I would argue that in our discipleship, this is where trustworthy stewardship comes to a whole other level. So thank you for all that you're doing. God is doing incredible things. We'll see you Sunday either at 9 or at 11.